Hi Jess.
Hello.
I think maybe you want to introduce me.
Okay, so welcome first of all. Thank you for joining us. So this is my good friend Sheridan.
Hello.
Do you want to give a little?
Yeah, you're probably wondering what on earth I'm doing here. See, Jess is this amazing yoga teacher, but I'm all about mental health and making people feel better and confidence and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring Sheridan on because if you've watched some of my other videos, you will have seen that my mental health journey has kind of been a long one. I've not spoken about it in depth on my channel yet,
but it's always hard to talk about our mental health.
Yeah, and yoga is a big part of, you know, what helps me day to day, what keeps me grounded, and we've spoken a lot over the years.
Yeah, we have.
Even though yoga has been the one thing that's really kept me kind of grounded and feeling great, you have been there since I was a baby, a child, and really kept me feeling, you know, understood, and you know that I'm not alone in this journey, and so many of us I think need that.
Goodness me, you've just said it, and I think we all want to feel understood, don't we? And so often in life we just think, please understand me, and we live in a world where everyone's always trying to offer solutions to problems and try and solve everything with A, B and C. Everything's in boxes, everything's ticked these days. And I think so often we just want to feel that, well, the current word is validated, but validated or just acknowledged, and kind of believe that it's okay just to be us and to be ourselves and be an
and
individual.
I think, you know, part of the reason I started this channel was to share something that's really helped me and hopefully is helping a lot of you, and thank you so much for joining me on this kind of online journey. But I think there is a danger in kind of saying like, this is the solution, or this is what you should be doing. And yes, you know, I will speak till the cows come home about how great yoga is and how much I think we should all be doing it. So one day, one day you will do it with me.
To happen.
But I do think there are a plethora of ways that we can kind of approach mental health, and even the people who are, you know, real yogis and have been doing it for years, and that is their one thing, and you know, like me, it's never going to not be a part of my life, but I can't sit here and claim that it is everything and it solves everything.
But is anything our solution to everything? No. And what would a solution be? What are we all trying to ultimately achieve? Are we trying to achieve this elusive thing called happiness? Because if so, what is happiness? I think if we aim in life to feel at peace and to live within the bounds of contentment, then that's probably a far more realistic and calm state than aiming at this word that no one really knows what happy means.
And actually you said something earlier about you know, people who go to therapy, and it's all very kind of focused on you should be doing this and your reaction means this, and this thing about yourself is probably an indicator of this, and actually most people just want to be understood and listened to rather than preached at, or you know, told what they should be doing or even what they could be doing.
I think we're talking about empathy, aren't we? An empath is someone who feels with someone or sympathises with them, and I think sometimes we just need to know that people resonate with us. And something I often say is that I think we all feel we'd like to have lots of friends, and I think sometimes we feel very loved by lots of people, and we know we love lots of people. Then there's the weird one, do we actually love ourselves? Which is the hardest part of that equation. I think self-love's a big topic. What I was going to say is, I think there's only ever a handful of people, sometimes you might count those people on literally one hand, who you kind of feel are absolutely your people, that they're kind of your tribe, and these people have an almost telepathic connection. And I can always read you and know what you're thinking before you even speak. And I think it's lovely to find that. Of course, it's not telepathic, it's not magic. It's just people who are completely in sync.
And able to empathise.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what makes people feel less isolated. And I think often when people are feeling really screwed up, what they're actually feeling is that they're the weirdo. They're kind of alone in this feeling, and they are the outsider. I think we've all felt like the outsider at times, and I think, don't we all feel that?
Yeah,
sometimes?
And I think, you know, I've kind of said this before on my channel, that I think that's why a lot of people come to yoga, and that's why a lot of people connect with yoga so much, because one, it gives you a sense of community, that you're with like-minded people, but also I think we all kind of come to it for a certain reason, and we come to it on the back of not quite feeling like we fit in, and you know, finding something to help us escape from everyday life and really connect with who we actually are rather than who we present ourselves to be, maybe online or just, you know, in daily conversation.
Can I talk about who we are and why we are
and,
and stuff like that? Because I couldn't agree more. Who are we trying to be like, for one thing? I mean, it's very, very exhausting to spend your whole life trying to be the person you think you're supposed to be. This wanting to feel accepted, wanting to feel part of a group or just loved and accepted by other people. And the way, if we're not careful, that we do that is we'll compromise our real selves by pretending to be the person we think we're supposed to be. Because we don't love the real us. So because we don't love the real us, we think there must be a better one, and we better kind of pretend to be that. But my favourite way of explaining this was taught me about 10, 15 years ago now by a friend of mine called Richard Wilkins, who's an inspirational speaker and coach. And he says, when we're born, we're what, kind of perfect when we're born. You know, it's after that things go wrong. But when we're born, we are handed a great big fat script, a metaphorical life script that we cling very tightly onto. And this script, in it, is all the things that we wouldn't choose to believe about ourselves. So on page 5 it says, oh, my brothers were cleverer than I was at school, therefore I must be a failure. Okay, that's fine. And on page 37 it says, oh yeah, my mum and dad wish I'd do better, so I must be a really rubbish son. Okay, and we accept all these things this script teaches us, and everything we wouldn't choose to believe about ourselves is in this script. And it forms, if we're not careful, our identity and our reference point for everything we respond, act or think about from that point onwards. But the script isn't you. Your life script, or what I sometimes call the negative little voice in your head, isn't you. It's only a little voice, it's only a script, becomes our reference point. But you are, we all are, you minus your script. So the key, of course, is to separate from it and find a way of breaking away from your script so it doesn't become your identity. And the best way I know of doing that, and this is what yoga does so beautifully, is by being present in the moment and noticing. Because if you notice how you feel, and the feelings you're feeling, how's the best way of saying this? And your feelings aren't serving you. So if your feelings aren't wholesome, they're not helping you in a way that's going to move you forward in a good way, then you know what? That's not you. That's your script. And just the noticing process, just by noticing the little voice in your head that tells you all this crappy stuff, you are then immediately dissipating those negative thoughts. And it doesn't disappear like a magic trick. It's not like waving a magic wand. But it does help you to attach less value to those thoughts that you previously thought defined you.
And I think it's one of those things about just becoming aware. I think that in itself is such a powerful tool, isn't it?
Huge.
I think you can go through life just having these thoughts about yourself from maybe childhood, or from what someone said to you one time, or how someone reacted to you when you said a certain opinion, or whatever it may be. We have somehow as a society completely attached our self-worth to either our online presence or how we present ourselves to others, or what other people are thinking or saying about us. And I think, was it you who said, or you've done a video about not being afraid to be disliked? Was that you? Yeah, well,
there was as it were. Is she
someone
like,
else I'm watching?
Just put me on the spot, girl.
So sorry.
No. There's a modern psychologist called Alfred Adler who's written a book called Have the Confidence to Be Disliked. That's what she's referring to. And what this talks about is we need to separate our tasks. I'll briefly explain this, but it's not too frightfully boring.
No, please do.
Okay, which is my task as a friend to, example, Jess here, and we've been friends for decades. That's pretty much.
I'm not that old,
but I am. So my task as a friend to anybody is to be loving, caring, supportive, there for them, and all the things you'd expect from a friend. But my task is not in how they respond to that. So if I start making my happiness conditional on whether my friends like the way I behave, even when I'm doing my best, then I'm never going to be satisfied, because I'm always going to be chasing something that's actually unattainable. which is also linked with approval and validation.
Yeah.
And again, if we're doing that, then we're placing someone's opinion of us, as we've already said, higher than our own. And that leads me to one conclusion. If other people's opinion of us are more important to us than our own, then it's our self-love that we need to work on. I remember years ago noticing, here's me again, noticing that I loved lots of people, not in a weird way, but just in a nice generic sense, a lot of love for a lot of people. And if I'm honest, I feel and felt loved by a lot of people in return and anyway, which you'd think, oh well, he's got it sorted, he loves loads of people and lots of people love him. But that doesn't do the job, because that leaves out the major equation, which is, at one point in my life, I didn't love me. So I could give out love and receive love and couldn't work out why that didn't make me happy. And that's because I still hadn't worked out that relationship with myself, which comes back to the little voice in my head, that script that we're all born with, telling us all the things that I wouldn't choose to believe about myself. And at that point, without realising it, choosing unconsciously to believe all that rubbish that was going in. Am I burbling too much?
No, I think it actually rings very true, because the thing is about trying to people please all the time and worry about what other people think of you, and again, that's largely attached to your own self-worth, how other people think of you and how they speak about you behind your back. It's something that I actually was really bothered about for a long time, and I found myself keeping quiet on things that bothered me because I didn't want to rock the boat and I didn't want people to dislike me because of those things. But the truth of it is that you can't please everyone. I know it's a cliche saying, but it is very true in that, there will always be someone who doesn't agree with you, who will think of you in a certain way to fit their narrative, and that's fine. You will always be the villain in someone's story. I read that the other day.
It's so true.
Yeah, and you can't control that, and that's what it is. It's about control. Even in terms of, if someone does something to upset you, or someone thinks a certain way about you, which isn't true, and you know yourself, and you know the people that love you, know the real you. But if they think that way, and I stress about it, what am I actually doing? Who am I helping? What am I changing? I'm not. And it's very difficult to kind of, just let go of that and be okay with the fact that someone doesn't like you, especially if you've been, living your life trying to please people and trying to be a good person. I think we have this whole thing about a good person means that everyone must like me. And it's really dangerous, actually, because it does mean that you kind of put all of your needs behind what everyone else needs from you.
Gosh,
and you'll find actually that by being that way and by not having boundaries, that actually you attract the kind of people that will take advantage of that rather than the people that will benefit you equally. And it is a real ongoing practice of, can I control this thing? No. If I worry about it, will it change? No. If I keep it in my mind and ruminate over those thoughts, is anything going to happen from that? Actually, no. And all I'm doing there is creating stress for myself. And I read a quote, and it was something like, holding a grudge is like stabbing yourself in the heart and expecting the other person to feel it. And it really hit me, because I was like, actually, that whoever's hurt you or whatever's been said or whatever event has happened, you stressing over it is not going to change a thing.
Or on a down-to-earth basis, if you're caught behind someone on the road and you're driving and they're going slower than you want to, and you're going, oh, hurry up. The only person who's suffering is you, because they don't know, and it's sort of the same thing. I love what you've just been saying about which is obviously attached to yoga, but it's something I do too, and it's that when it's just you and four walls and your conscience, or God, if you're a Christian or a believer in whatever you choose to believe in, but you and four walls and your conscience, and where does your mind go? And this is the ultimate noticing, isn't it? And if your thoughts aren't somehow, again I use the same phrase, if your thoughts aren't serving you, if your thoughts aren't helpful, then sometimes before you can say, okay, well I'll just change them then, the right thing to do, because of neural pathways in your brain, which are what form our habits, and most of the negative thoughts we have are because we've thought them before and we've embedded them year after year, and they become beliefs. And beliefs form what we think is the truth, and the truth is the truth whether you believe it or not. So it's all very complex. So when you're in your four-wall space and you're having an unhealthy thought that isn't helping you, then just to say stop, and even do an action that means stop, actually jars the neural pathway, which is like a series of roundabouts where you've taken the same exit, and one day you've got to decide, stop, back up, and then take a
because I know it's
exit.
the wrong way.
Yeah, and that's how the brain works. So in your space, notice the feeling that isn't helping you. Say stop, do an action if you need to, reevaluate, say, is this feeling serving me? No, it's not. And then I think you kind of become your own coach.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, Sheridan, what thought would help you going forwards? Is it helpful to think, oh, here I go again, I'm going to be a failure, and what's going to happen next week? Or would it be more helpful to think, this is really panning out the way I wanted to, and I can really see some good things ahead? And I know it sounds dangerously like good old-fashioned positive thinking, but by doing it in this particular fashion, you're able to reframe any given situation. And then what you actually do is you change your expectation level. And if you can change your expectation level, then you'll start noticing all the things that have been floating around you the whole time and grabbing what we sometimes call opportunity.
Yeah.
Because when your eyes are focused on a positive expectation, the brain has a way, it's sometimes called the law of attraction, but I don't want to go too airy-fairy about it. But I do think when we know where we're heading because we expect it, that the circumstances that'll help make that happen are open to us and we notice them.
So I think we'll probably wrap it up here because we've been speaking way longer than we should have.
We can put another 6 hours of material.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope this has been helpful. You have certainly helped me, and thank you so much for coming on.
Absolute pleasure.
And do go and check out Sheridan's channel. He's quite the newbie to YouTube, so give him a warm welcome as you
growing fast.
Yes, exactly. So I'll add all the links below, so please go check him out. And if you do really resonate with the things that Sheridan has talked about, you do offer online coaching, don't you?
Absolutely, just get in touch.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll do another one of these probably on your channel.
There's a whole series coming out soon.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. We hope this was helpful, and see you soon.
Thank you for having me. All right, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.